It's another episode of Tactical and Practical. I'm your host, Nate Lagos, and I'm here to talk to you about maybe the easiest thing I've done to improve performance this year, and maybe in hindsight also the dumbest, uh, and also like maybe the most obvious. So that's what we're gonna get into today. This is how to make your Facebook ads work better in like 6 minutes. It's gonna be the easiest thing you've ever done. This episode is brought to you by IntelliGems. If you've been listening to the pod, you know that increasing our conversion rate, our average order value, and ultimately our revenue and profit per session has been like my number one goal for 3 years in a row. And in that time, I've become a paying customer of IntelliGems, and their platform is one of the only platforms that helps us do it. It lets us test content and headlines and copy and images and prices and offers and pretty much anything we can think up. It lets us test it on our website. We can set profit and revenue per session as our North Star metrics, and that's how we've been able to grow so much. They've been such a massive part of our growth the last couple of years, and it's really been the thing that allows us to keep scaling our ad spend and keep scaling our business the way we have, because Facebook ads aren't getting any cheaper, and as you scale site sessions, conversion rate usually goes down, but we've been able to actually increase it while we have doubled and tripled the amount of people coming to our website. So go to IntelliGems.io, let them know the Tactical and Practical podcast sent you, and you can start adding dollars to your bottom line today. All right, here is Nate Lagos' hot tip for increasing Facebook ad performance. Go to Meta Ads Manager. Set the date range for all of last year. All of it. Let me first put an asterisk here. Let me pause. Let me time out with the podcast. You should only be listening to this episode if last year was a good year for you. If last year was not a good year for your brand, I don't know if this is the episode that you should listen to. So maybe listen to the rest of it and then decide if you want to follow this advice. But from now on, I'm going to assume if you're still listening, your brand had a good year last year like ours did. And this is what I did recently to improve our performance. Went to Meta Ads Manager, and I set the date range to all of last year. I looked at all of our ads and sorted them by highest spend. And there were probably like 5 out of our top 10 highest spending ads from last year that had since been turned off. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, wow, I'm a fucking idiot. Like, why would I do that? Why would I let, a couple weeks in January make me think that an ad that I spent $700,000 on last year isn't a good ad anymore? But getting wrapped up in the day-to-day volatility of e-com, that happens sometimes. And you can go through a few weeks where maybe you're chasing certain metrics. Maybe you sold out of a certain product, so you had to turn something off. Maybe, you got wrapped up in a new campaign idea and, forgot your roots, so to speak. But for me, it was super obvious. If there are ads that I spent 6 figures on last year then on an individual ad, and last year was a great year, that means that was probably a great ad. So I turned them all back on. And like instant performance boost, both in platform and blended business metrics. Like life got better. It's so easy for all of us in e-com to start thinking like robots. We look at our dashboards, we look at our spreadsheets, we look at all these percentages and ratios. It's really hard to not get wrapped up in that. And it's really hard to forget to use common sense sometimes. But I think that's what this tactic is all about. It's just about using common sense in your advertising. If you spent $500,000 on an ad last year and your brand had a good year last year, why would you ever turn that ad off? Like, unless something changes and you start spending money on that ad and performance tanks, obviously, then make a change. But that's usually not the case. In a lot of the ad accounts that I look into for people, it's not that like performance all of a sudden falls off a cliff one day on what was their best performing ad. Some weeks it just starts to get a little bit less spend and then less spend. Then you launch more ads and maybe one ad catches fire and you want to spend all your money on that, so you turn off some other ones. And all of a sudden, ads that built your business, ads that let's be honest, bought me this farm last year, got turned off in January because I wasn't looking at the big picture. And that's a sin. That should be a sin in ecom. To kind of turn your back on what got you there, to turn your back on ads that are as proven as anything else we've ever done as a business. So that is my tactic for you today. Go back and look at your Facebook ad account during a time where your business was crushing. Maybe it was 2 years ago. Maybe it was 6 months ago. Maybe it was just for October of last year and no other month was good. Go look at a time where your business was crushing. Look at your highest spending evergreen ads. Make sure you're not turning on Black Friday ads right now. Go look at your highest spending evergreen ads and turn them back on. Even if you have to change the links on them to an updated landing page, you're going to lose the social proof, but that's okay. The ad itself is good. So turn it back on. This might be the shortest episode of Tactical and Practical, but it might be the most impactful. It was like one of the most impactful things I did for us in January, February. So that's the deal on the Tactical and Practical podcast. We keep it short and sweet, and I'm going to go drink some whiskey. See you next time. Follow me at Nate Lagos. Listen to the Tactical and Practical podcast wherever. Tell a friend about it. Here's the thing I'll do. I'm sure everyone stopped listening by now because I just gave the outro. So this is just for the real Tactical and Practical fans, the real dedicated loyalists. I'm going to buy one of you a watch. And all you have to do is a screenshot one of your best ads from last year and tell me that you're turning it back on. First person to do that, I will buy you a watch from originalgrain.com. All right, now the episode's over.